Okay, we're live. They're not on yet, so we'll wait.
Okay. They're on a Hawaiian time.
Oh, let's go right there.
Oh, that's here. Let's put them together. See two.
Well, so that's what they're seeing.
Right, legs.
So they're.
I mean, let's sit it on both of them.
No, that's good. Do you want to sit?
It's not centered. So I don't want it to fall.
Oh, okay. I gotta send it to a different email.
Plus, we have to get up close to the headphones, right?
No, you're gonna put them in your ears. Yes.
See, though, this kind of thing just.
What is that?
Somebody comes up and sits down and leaves their plastic cup. It goes right in the water.
Okay, they're gonna sign on. Let me get out of the way so they can see the canoe. Oh, now can you? You can sit.
I got to be close enough to.
Go to sailing, and you know, they picked up the best watermen at the time, right? You know, Hōkūleʻa guys, and that whole first voyaging crew. And then it went down, and they came back, and that was it. They were going to mothball the thing, high five, experiments over, we got it, right? And then somebody said, no, let's keep this going. And they tried again, and the next time they went, they hit a huge wall. In the form of a massive storm right off of Lanai, and they swamped their canoe, and that's when Eddie Cow was lost trying to get back to land, call for help. So since then, you know, they really shifted and put some structure in the organization and said, okay, we need to do this safely, we need to do this in a manner that that we can lift our people, not just Hawaiian people, but all of Hawaii back up. And in that time, it was rather a tumultuous time, right? In Hawaii's history. So actually, the day after everyone got rescued, the governor came down and met them and said, "Hey, we're going to help you guys, you know, get back on you guys' feet and make sure that this thing lives on and continues." And from there, it's you know, gone through the years, and a few years ago, they kind of took it to the next step, right? So throughout the late 70s and 80s, Hōkūleʻa has kind of been around the Pacific. They've gone back and forth to Tahiti, kind of count how many times. We've gone to the Marquesas, we've gone to Easter Island, we've gone to New Zealand, we've come back home, we went up to the Northwest Hawaiian Islands, and kind of in doing this, we inspired a lot of people in those islands to kind of think about their own heritage and be like, hey, wait, we used to sail too. Why don't we build a canoe and start doing this ourselves? So now when we sail throughout the Pacific, each island group has not just one, but many of their voyaging canoes. And a few years ago, they all kind of came to Oahu on a tour of the Pacific to bring awareness to the plight of the oceans. So, and after doing the Pacific, or doing Polynesia, we decided, hey, it's time to pay homage to our teacher, Papa Maupiailu, who's Micronesian, and he had actually taught the Hawaiians how to sail again. And back in Micronesia, a lot of people were like, why are you doing this? You're like kind of letting the trade secret out, right? We're the only guys that can do this. And Papa Mau said, you know what, in a generation or two, you guys will be on your iPads and, driving around in your cars and shopping at Costco, and you guys won't remember or won't carry this on. Here's a group of people that wants to, so I'm going to teach them. And when you guys want to learn again, go ask the Hawaiians. And that's kind of exactly what has happened. So Hōkūleʻa has gone to Micronesia. They've gone to Japan, where there's a huge following for Hōkūleʻa. I had no idea. But the Japanese guys are tracking Hōkūleʻa pretty good. And when they came back from Japan, and I know I'd asked the question, said, hey, what next? Right? We've done the Pacific. And someone said, well, I'm going around the world. Yeah. A couple days later, called them up. Yeah, that's kind of a good idea. Let's talk about that. And from that one, what if we go around the world idea, then we fleshed it out and built the program. So, a few years ago, Hōkūleʻa left from Hakipu'u, which is on the north shore, the east side of this island. People know it as Kualoa. It's actually the birthplace of Hōkūleʻa. And she set sail. She went around the state a few times to kind of gather mana from the state, right? All the communities of each island. And then she set off to Tahiti. From Tahiti, down to Samoa, past Tonga, past Fiji, New Zealand, Australia, and up to Indonesia, across to Mauritius, down to Africa, to the east side of Africa, around to the south of Africa, and then from South Africa across the Atlantic to St. Helena, which is a little speck in the ocean, about the size of Lanai. And from St. Helena to a smaller speck in the ocean, Ascension, and then Fernando de Noronha, about 200 miles off of Brazil. And then from there to Brazil itself, the kind of the eastern tip of Brazil. And from Brazil up to the Caribbean, to Cuba, to Florida, and now they're going up the Intracoastal Waterway along the Atlantic seaboard, heading to, well, they're now in DC, heading to New York. And then from there, they're going to go up and around Nova Scotia, kind of down the Hudson again, back to New York, and then dry dock in Virginia for a few months, then come around into the Gulf, visit the Gulf states, through the Panama, to the Easter Island, back to Tahiti, then back home. So we're looking at about a year out before they're home. They kind of want to get home before the next hurricane season. Not a good place to be in the middle of the ocean. You have a hurricane season. So that's kind of the new mission of Hōkūleʻa. We're all joking that the next mission is going to be sailing Hōkūleʻa to the moon. Right? I don't want to be on that trip. It'll be cold. So anyway, so Hōkūleʻa is all about kind of the theme of what you guys are doing now, which is sailing together, right? Building relationships and building legacies, and working together. We have crew members from many, many, many different countries, many communities here in Hawaii, crew members from the continent, and Hōkūleʻa has inspired not just South Pacific communities to kind of build their own canoes, but I think now every island or every county has at least one of their own canoes, one of their own hōkūleʻas to sail, and as well as some of the Alaska Native tribes up in Southeast Alaska. So that's one kind of side benefit that came out of this original experiment of can we go out to Tahiti and come back, right? And we're just looking forward to kind of perpetuating that cultural practice of sailing, of honoring not just Mau and Nainoa, the modern day navigators, but the navigators of old, the Humus, the Liloas, the Kamohoali'is, all these mythical people of Hawaiian legend, once upon a time were on their own canoe, bringing families from Tahiti, from our cases, from Samoa, Tonga, up to Hawaii. So that's kind of one of our big things now. And not just the sailing part, but also what comes along with that is an education on in order to make a canoe, we need healthy forests, trees large enough to harvest and to hollow out. For our hulls, we need different kinds of trees for different parts of the canoe, right? So it's about taking care of our watersheds. It's about sailing around the world and seeing some incredible reef systems that, Hawaii is a beautiful place. There's other places in the world I've been with Hōkūleʻa that is just crazy beautiful reefs. But we've also seen the opposite. We've also been in places where the water was super polluted. So as we're going around the world and with the help of modern day technology, we've been able to link up different school groups with the story of Hōkūleʻa, with the values of Hōkūleʻa, and which are universal values. And just kind of tapping into that, not just in Hawaii, but also across the continent, and school groups in the various places that we've been to. So that's a whole educational component of Hōkūleʻa and PBS. And we're lucky enough that my wife is one of those people that does that. Separately, no nepotism. Government crowd, got a caveat. And she's right now in DC with the Hōkūleʻa on a Google Hangout with us. So let's see if she's up. Hey, you want to take off the sticky thing?
Yeah, how do I do that?
Take off the sticky thing.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Hi, Kai. So I just kind of prepped them a little bit and told them that, there's the cultural aspect of Hōkūleʻa, but there's also this educational component as well. So if you don't mind talking to them a little bit about what that educational outreach looks like and kind of drop some schools, So for the next few minutes, it's yours.
All right. I was supposed to be on about 4 minutes ago, so somebody went a little long. All right. Aloha, everyone. I'm here at the Washington Canoe Club at the Francis, if you can see in the back, Scott Key Bridge. If you can hear me and the audio is great, give me a thumbs up. Oh, fabulous. Awesome. So it's about 4:18 here in Washington, D.C. And I just took one of the longest Uber rides ever. It gives the drive from Eva Beach into town a run for its money from the National Mall, where we were with the National Geographic and the BioBlitz. Where we did one of our biggest outreaches there. We had children from all over the Maryland, Virginia, and DC area coming to learn about everything to do with the environment and what they can do. Specifically, the Polynesian Voyaging Society had out our flags, our material. What we do is with every port that we go into, we ask the children, we ask the families and our communities to think about the things that they really care about. Each other, the environment, their homes, And we teach them about the word Mālama Honua. So the teacher in me is going to ask you to repeat after me. Would you please say Mālama Honua? Great, great. And Honua, as our captain has told us in many different ways, not only means the earth, but it means the place that you care for. And so we asked them, what are some of the things that they would really like to have in the future? Besides Kindles and iPads and Xboxes, you know, one of the answers that the students give us very regularly is water. And even at that 4, 6, 9, 14-year-old level, they understand the importance of water and our oceans. And that's really what Mālama Honua is about. So since the canoe arrived in Piscataway a week ago, the crew, the land crew, the logistics crew, our cultural protocol crew has really made it a priority to connect and become educated about the Indigenous peoples, the First Nations here, by asking for permission, for respecting the protocols that are here before we can enter classrooms, before we can enter any space, whether it be a lawn or a building. And then once we receive permission, then we can go ahead and share what our mission is. And it's worldwide. And it's been an honor to be a part of the education team for a very long time. But it takes many different kinds of people to fulfill the mission of Mālama Honua and the Polynesian Voyaging Society. And so this is my plug. We need your help. We need everyone to think about what Mālama Honua is about and what this va'a that's here in Washington, D.C., you can believe that, stands for. So we're having canoe tours today. We have canoe tours tomorrow. We have an opportunity to really impact policy here in Washington, D.C., not by just our words, but really our actions about what we are trying to do. So mahalo.
Thanks, Kai. So I'm picking up the kids today, right?
For another week. Remember, I'm heading to New York on a train right after this.
Okay. I'm glad we clarified that. Hey, any questions for Kylie? She's right in front of the
Hugs. Love you. Thank you.
No? Right. So we got Ed standing by?
Ed standing by.
Okay. So thank you, Kai. So, you know, so another shameless plug, all right? Well, not so shameless, but a lot of why I'm able to volunteer some of my time with Hōkūleʻa is because I work for a really awesome small native aid, and our mission of our parent umbrella is to benefit the Native Hawaiian community, right? And it's not just the Hawaiian guy or the brown face in the house that does this. All of our employees really have this desire to help out the community, the Native Hawaiian community, but more importantly, the community at large. So I want to just take a couple minutes to introduce to you our business development director, Ed Curtis, who is a longtime USACE guy. How many people know Ed in the room? Right. Jen, we need to set the volume control on this thing.
It's softer.
It's softer.
Okay.
I'm just playing. Right? Who knows Ed, right? So I got a real funny story about that later. I'll tell. But so you know, Ed does a lot of work. But you know, Ed knows everybody who knows anybody. And you know, we were trying to get his friend hooked up with Hōkūleʻa in Florida, and you know, it came about that I was like, hey Ed, you know anybody with this? What's this Intracoastal Waterway thing? He's like, well, I'm the Army Corps of Engineers, and I don't know, I'm a Hawaii guy, and I've never been in an Intracoastal Waterway. They said, I'll hook him up. So so that was really important in helping Hōkūleʻa get to where it's at right now. All right, and I'll let Ed talk for a little bit, Ed, about your role in this whole thing and the fact that you're gone right now. So I'm doing business development now. But anyway, go ahead, Ed.
That's right. And Kylie and I have been going out drinking here in DC, Derek. So we've had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. This kind of come full circle, right? Since I left POD, 5 years ago, and have stayed in Hawaii and have come back. So Derek asked me to talk a little bit about the current role of your Corps of Engineers and maybe some of the connections, and aloha Colonel Clary and the rest of you, So the first and most obvious connection between Honolulu District and the Hōkūleʻa is the fact that even on your own website, if you haven't been there in a while, the first flag officer, the first admiral or general officer in the United States military was Albert Kuli'i Brickwood Lyman, of Hawaiian descent. Now, General Lyman was not only of Hawaiian descent, his DNA included European, Cherokee Indian, Chinese, and Native Hawaiian. So like Honolulu and Oahu is the most diverse place in the United States, he himself embodied that diversity in one person. So you may not know this because in Hawaii, we don't do too much civil works and we don't do too much with navigation. But in 1824, Congress passed two laws, the General Survey Act and the Rivers and Harbors Act, which gave the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers the authority over ensuring navigation in the United States of America. It's still that way today. And if you go onto charts provided by the Coast Guard or NOAA, you'll see in a little bottom corner, it says, if you have a problem with this chart, please contact the district commander of, in the case of Hawaii, the chart in the fine print in about number 2 font says Honolulu District. So that's a little bit fact known to anybody. So when Derek reached out to me and said, you know, these guys don't know anything about, actually it was kind of accidental. We saw an email that said, we're going up the Intracoastal and there's these locks and things and we don't know our timetable because of them. And I said, well, I know the guys that can open those. And I sent a photograph to Jen, you may have seen, working with the commanders of the South Atlantic Division and the North Atlantic Division and the district commanders from Jacksonville all the way up to New England, we were able to find out the names and contact info of all the lock masters. You want my hat off? I want my hat off. Of all the lock, I'm going bald, so I don't look like Colonel Clarion a little bit. I don't want to get burned on top. So anyway, we were able to find out the names of all the people on the Corps that managed the Intracoastal Waterway all the way up the coast. And so if the Hōkūleʻa had problems, they could call somebody and say, hey, because you all know, particularly in government and in the South and in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, everything's local, right? So, hey, Bubba, Lockmaster, you've been there 50 years. We're coming in at a non-standard time. Could you maybe help us out with the lock? And in Norfolk District, the employees were actually waiting for the Hōkūleʻa, and that was the photograph I sent Jen. So I will tell you, it's been, the Corps played a large part. I've played a small part. The Mars are the biggest piece in this. But the Hōkūleʻa doesn't only represent Polynesians and the Hawaiian people. I think I heard Derek talk about all those that live in Hawaii. And being down there Sunday in Old Town Alexandria, an old colonial area, an area of immense importance to Native Americans. And for those of you that have not served on the Corps in the mainland, the Corps of Engineers is the principal government agency that enforces government-to-government relations in accordance with the treaties with the Indian tribes. So your government employees go out and talk to tribal nations on a government-to-government basis to discuss issues of importance to them. So that's one of the things your Corps does. But it was an emotional experience to watch the Hōkūleʻa come in and see all those people down there and the Hawaiian diaspora and the people from Hawaii who came down to greet it, the thousands of people that now live in the National Capital Region that came to welcome the Hōkūleʻa on behalf of not only the ethnic Hawaiian people, but all those that call Hawaii home. So I'm glad to be able to share that with you. Still love the Corps of Engineers. I'm here in DC for all the change of command activities. And General Semonite, the new chief, I know would send his regards. He'll be out soon. When he does come out, remind him to take his shoes off before he comes into a house, and he'll get that joke. And if there aren't any questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Derek.
Hey, you guys have anything for Ed? I mean, how awesome is it that, you know, this a guy I work with is, you know, 27 years, 11 months, and 7 days.
28 years, 11 months, 7 months, 11 days.
Yeah, so I got that track, but whatever.
If you all notice, he's lost the ponytail.
Matter wants to know what Fantastic Sam's? Where do you go?
Yeah, NEX Barbershop.
There you go. Right. And any other core questions for Ed? I mean, he's an excellent resource. No, that's good. Hey, big hand for Ed and Kyle. All right. So my wife literally has to catch a train to make her next appointment in New York. So thanks, Kai. I was just saying you literally have to catch a train to get to New York. So we thank you and thank Ed for us. And please give our aloha to the crew and thinking about them as well. All right. And I got the boys, right? I got the boys.
All right. Mahalo, everybody, for spending your morning with us from Washington, D.C. Please continue to follow us on www.hōkūleʻa.com. We've got a year to go, and we would love for you to think about us, send some prayers, drop a couple bucks, and smile at Derek Marr when he comes through Fort Shafter.
All right. Thanks, Kai.
All right. Aloha.
All right.